Hello, this is Sudhakar Moparthi. Welcome to Crowdsourced AI project. Today we're going to see how we can build a JSON using ChatGPT specifically for AWS IAM Service. This JSON building is uh, going to be the object that we will import into SKillbanc app. What is SKillbanc app? SKillbanc app maintains the data, the model of this JSON, and will be integrated with ChatGPT using the ChatGPT API. And once we have some data in the SKillbanc app and using ChatGPT, we can answer lots of questions. So we have to not only generate the JSON, import it into an app, and then make a provision for asking questions on top of that. And that's what we're going to see. So this pattern we're going to use for learning everything. Uh, uh, First time when I'm building this, then it may take a while, but slowly we will be making these things a lot faster. All right, let's get started. Let me share my screen. Okay, so for this purpose today, I'm going to use three things, obviously. I'm going to use Amazon's documentation of IAM service. I'm going to use SKillbanc app, and then I'm going to use ChatGPT. All right. So first thing is I want to say create a JSON for AWS IAM Service. Create a JSON service object. Okay, so that's the kind of object that I want to build, and add AWS IAM user, AWS IAM group, and AWS IAM policy objects. Objects as array objects, and give some sample data for these objects. Let's see what it will be. So I got a AWS service users, username John Doe, user ID ARN John Doe, created date, username, user ID ARN, created date, created groups, group name, group ID, create date. Policy name, admin access, policy ID, ARN, policy, admin access, attachment count. So these are all the different concepts that we need to be aware, and we will import this, and so that we have the model. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to use my names. In SKillbanc app, we have the account name for which we are crowdsourced AI account we are going to create in AWS. And then I want AWS IAM as a prefix with spaces. And these are the names that I want. Okay, so let's see. So we can rename uh, properties with prefix AWS IAM if not already there, because and there, and remove remove underscores and use camel case. Okay, let's see. Camel case. Okay. What I really wanted was uppercase, lowercase. So let me see if I can rename it. All right, I'm going to prepare my prompt. Rename properties with prefix AWS IAM, not already there, and remove underscores and replace underscores with space. That's what I missed. And use first letter as use first letter as uppercase. Use first letter of each word as uppercase. Use the first JSON. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh no. Okay. That's fair enough. User ID, ARN, create date, username, user ID. Okay. All right. I'm going to take this and break it up and combine them manually later. But for now, I'm going to just take this. The first one I'm going to take, I guess. Okay, so let's go back to, so what's the idea here? So I got to create an IAM user object and group object and then role object. So basically these are the names that I wanted it in there. And so let's create a new user, create new. Okay, IAM username, So here, so we'll create it as user one. Okay, what I want to do is under users object, I want to add, okay, create a JSON AWS IAM user and add AWS IAM. Let's see what the name I give. AWS IAM username. AWS IAM username. AWS ARN Amazon resource node ARN AWS ARN. We'll just say ARN for now. Oh, I want to prefix with ARN. I don't want ARNs and all that right now. Or maybe, let's put it. I just want the AWS thing, user. Okay, let me copy this. And for this, JSON response, I'm going to add JSON response model. Right now, I'm doing it manually, but later, we will have these things created automatically from this JSON. This is what I want. AWS IAM user and username AWS IAM user username. Let's be consistent. AWS ARN and this is the account ID, I guess. Yeah. So that's so you have a JSON. So when I import this JSON, so I will get all my uh, all my details about that IAM user. So here, what right now I'm going to do it manually. I'm going to add groups. This user maybe okay. So I will take this. I'll take this. Go to ChatGPT and I'll say add AWS IAM group as a property to the JSON as an array with sample data. Oops, I did not give my JSON. Okay, so it created two groups, one for admins and one for developers. So that means this user belongs to John Doe will belong to admin group as well as developers group. So use my JSON. Okay, let's see. I wanted it to use my JSON and add groups. That's good. That is fantastic. Okay, now I will say replace group groups with AWS IAM group name with AWS IAM group name. Okay, maybe that is fine. Group name and group ID. The generic names. ARN with AWS ARN. Create date. I want create date to be with created date. All right, let's see. Awesome. Okay, let's ask some questions. So I'm going to take this third. So this is the project, okay, that we're going to work on with crowdsourced AI as part of crowdsourced AI. I copy that, import that in here. Okay. So now I got my JSON. So once this is processed, so I will get my model into the SKillbanc app. Then what are we going to do? Once the SKillbanc app is integrated with ChatGPT, these are the type of questions that we're going to ask, because SKillbanc has the ability to create this kind of JSON based on the model that it has, or it can take this kind of model, whatever the model that we are building, and then import it. So that means I should be able to communicate with ChatGPT, giving my JSON, and then I do a conversational questions. So I like this particular JSON for IAM user. So now let's ask um, things like what, okay, John Doe, okay, what what groups, what are the groups um, that John Doe belong to? Okay, okay. So use the JSON above and answer and and give the names of the group that John Doe belong to. As per the JSON you provided, there is no information about which groups the user John Doe belongs to. The JSON only has a sample data AWS IAM group objects which with group names, admins, and developers. There is no information about which user belongs to which group. Okay, so now you see we are testing the limits of ChatGPT. So it could not recognize that this AWS user, IAM user, John Doe, it could not infer to the groups, uh, the groups admins and developers. Okay, so our intention here is, okay, so let's go to John Doe group. Okay, this is our John Doe. Okay, let's small John Doe, and they belong to some groups. Okay, here. So now here I want to create admin group. Okay, so that's a group name, admins. Then I want to create one more group called developers. Okay, so I created two groups. Now you'll see the magic here, what I'm trying to do. So I have two groups, and then now I want to add under admins and developers the user, because it's the user has the group. We should know this user belongs to these groups, and then when I go inside the group, I should know which users John Doe belongs to. So I want to search for John Doe and attach that same object. So that's the idea. So let me do some magic here. Let me search for that. Searchable. I am user. I am user. I'm going to search for I am user. Okay. So we have, I'm getting myself the permission to add, or permission to search for John Doe. Okay, so now I can search for John Doe. Okay, why is it? Okay, let's see. I am user. So let me copy paste the object. Okay, so this John Doe user, it's a system generated name. Okay, that's for the object. Okay, let me go inside, and I'm going to for this. Okay, so that's the same user that we just created. Okay, interesting. User, whatever. Okay, let's see. Let me refresh. John Doe. Okay, John Doe is not there. Okay, so this one. Okay, user group. I have that same. Oh, okay. So it's not name. Okay, so it's. I need to pick the columns that I want to display. Okay, AWS IAM username. Username. Okay, delete. Okay, here we are now seeing SKillbanc app also in action. So we need to be aware of how to operate SKillbanc app here. Okay, I want to move this. All right, let me go here. Admins, IAM user, Jondo, same object. Okay, so what we are saying here is basically, let me annotate. This is what we just did. We have a user and we have a group, and this user belongs to this group, and this group has this user. That's what we just did. This is one user. Okay, John Doe. User group. Okay, so once everything in this project, since because we are doing it everything manually, I want you to understand the concepts, and then when we automate all this, going to building the JSON based upon our data here, and then asking questions, uh, and then importing it, building in ChatGPT, and then importing it here. We're trying to build the model and the relationships. So at the end of the day, with that documentation, when we showcase these kind of diagrams and that kind of JSON, simply looking at the diagram and the JSON, one should be able to get the structure of relationships in the model. And that model is understood by the machine, and that model is what we humans have to understand. So, this is very good for learning purposes. And once everything is automated, and we can use ChatGPT's English interpretation and get some uh, uh, inferences from the JSON, which is a structured data, and be able to answer some of the questions as JSON, as ChatGPT becomes more intelligent, and then we will get all these inferences for free. All we have to maintain is the source data. It can compute, it can count, um, but unfortunately, as what I was, it didn't answer my question. John Doe's which groups it belongs to, but it kind of gave me in a different way. Oh, based on the structure, okay, you have some group names called admins and this and that. Um, Good enough, I guess. But what I wanted was uh, a more direct answer saying, so let me see if it can create some schema here. Okay. And then with that, we will end it. Clear. Create MySQL schema or the JSON. Okay. Okay, so it's picking up its own names, but I wanted it to use my JSON that I have given. I will ask. Let's see if use the exact uh, names um, in creating the schema given in the JSON. Yeah, now it's using that. So the idea is you have to get good at giving prompts. AWS IAM user to store users, AWS IAM group to store groups, AWS IAM user group to store relationship between user and group. Perfect. All right. So on that note, we will end this session today. Thank you very much. And if you are interested to work on automating this whole thing, given a structured JSON, um, then get in touch with me. Welcome to Crowdsourced AI project. Thank you very much. Bye bye. All right, let me just pause this. Stop sharing.